this is marks my third Sifan Hassan athletic performance contextualization. First person for was Sarah Sjöström, a female Swedish swimmer back in 2023. First to 5 was Kyle Chalmers, a male Scottish/Australian swimmer. And she is, Sifan Hassan is first to 3 in the 1 mile run other than me. So not a my first so much as I'm just thinking of, I'm trying to put the world record holders out there, or recent world record holder, like as an achieved recently, and then my own times that are faster than 5 minutes kind of thing. So this is, there were 3 times I was looking at putting on here my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. I'm filming this Tuesday, 6 February 2024. So this is the third of 3 times I was looking at, all right, 1 mile run, outdoor track. Let's get them done. So this is 3 of 3. So this is, here I talk through the Sifan Hassan 1 mile run outdoor track at the 2018 Millicent Fawcett Mile in London, England, United Kingdom. Time of 4 minutes and 14.71 seconds in the final on Sunday, 22 July 2018. With her time, she achieved a personal best time and the 3rd fastest time by a woman in the event in history. I provide my take/perspective on her performance and contextualize it in terms of winning a title in a race at an inaugural competition and my prospects of attending high-profile sports competitions such as this in the future. So, and let me specify there, so 3rd fastest time by a woman in the event in history, outdoor track, 1 mile run. Okay, so there's the outdoor track 1 mile run, indoor track 1 mile run, and road 1 mile run. So this is the in the event and the outdoor track event in history. Okay, so just for that clarity, it was, so an inaugural competition means it hasn't been held before, so it's the 1st edition. So Sifan Hassan won this first ever title at this competition, kind of like in 2023, so later, but Diribe Welteji won the inaugural world title in the 1 mile road run at the World Athletics Road Running Championships. So in that sense, I know there's a lot of push with competitions when they put their inaugural competition out there. So this is the first contextualization. Right, it was a very fast time. Right, the take is theirs. It was a very fast time, and I remember seeing the time and being like, "Woo!" Like the 1 mile run is like outdoor track is like speeding up, and it's an African, and like I remember being excited. I'm like an African, as in like not of African ancestry and not from Africa. She's like the of African ancestry and from Africa. She competes representing the Netherlands, at least of recent kind of thing. However, right, she's from ancestrally and from herself, you know, like, which I personally is like, I kind of view it as like, it's like, if we want to get history right, you know, she's like one of those people that like her doing well is like, it's something going right in the sport, right? And all of the current world record holders in the women's 1 mile road, outdoor track, indoor track, and road are all African ancestry and African of their own origins, which is very cool, personally, right? That's not what it has historically been, and it is historically now what it is. So I think it's very cool. Per my perspective, there are people who do not agree with that, but I think it's very cool. Okay, and so going back to the contextualization of winning a title at an inaugural competition. So a lot of these competitions really push to get certain athletes to compete at their inaugural competition. And I've been road running since 2006, started running in January 2006 with myself as coach. And so it's been kind of fun because, especially with my road running, I'm like, there wasn't world championships in road, like the 1 mile road run at that time, you know, kind of thing. And back when I broke 5 minutes for the first time in 2012, there was no world championships with the 1 mile road run kind of thing. So it's been fun to see the sport develop, and I've stayed active, and my time was faster than the fastest time by a United States of America person at the world championships last year. And I ran my time before the World Championships, and I'm a United States of America citizen, and was at the time. And so it's kind of, it would have been cool, especially since I'm part Native American, right? Like the others were not. So there's always like that kind of component of it. It'd be nice to see original peoples, but a lot of these competitions that's not what it's about. Right? It's bringing in talent. And so I'm highlighting that for this one because the Millicent Fawcett Mile was part of a larger competition that's about like suffrage of women in the United Kingdom. And so there's a little bit of, right, as someone who has British origins ancestry, there's always a little bit of like head scratching of why don't they care about us women, right? of the original peoples and descended from the original peoples. But I don't, sports, and especially those like not necessarily out there trying to correct wrongs, right? Sometimes we got to rely on good people like Sifan Hassan to kind of set the tone instead of the competitions. And so I thought she did a very good job at that with this. And for all I know, they really pushed to have her there, right? kind of thing. And instead of me, Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, they got her in. I think that's great for the sport. Right, kind of thing. Not that they were pushing for me. They didn't petition us descendants of original peoples, right, where this competition was held, kind of thing. So that's interesting. And it's the same goes for world athletics. It'd be cool. I mean, like, right, so I'm a road runner. My fastest 1 mile run time is a 4:35.99, and the world record is a 4:20.98. So that is like something that I thought I was like, do I have a dream competition? It's like, you know, I would like to compete at a competition. Like, we've seen it happen for the African ladies in Europe, right? For this race, it was in London, England, and for the Diribe Teji race, she's of Ethiopia. She won in Latvia, which is in Europe. And so there's a little bit of, so then, in thinking about stabilizing that structure for the sport, then the competitions that would fit for me, time-wise, and for that structure would be places I don't have ancestry, so competitions on continents other than North America and Europe. And if we went with what am I closest to time-wise, that'd be South America. So like maybe the Bolivarian Games introduces the Bolivarian Mile, and it's run or contested every Monday, and they send me an invitation. They're like, Tanis, we want you to compete. Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, Tanis Leonhardi, we want you to compete every Monday. We're hosting this event every Monday, every week, you know, that kind of thing. And you are invited to compete. And that would be so cool, right? So like these African women are advancing the sport in Europe. It'd be cool to, I'm not faster than everybody like they are. So it'd be cool to go to a place like South Africa, for example, where they're still faster than me, but like maybe we could improve together. You know, not instead, like it always kind of rubs me the wrong way when Olympians hold swim clinics, because it's kind of like, is that supposed to just be rubbing me like in my face that I'm not as fast as you? So instead, getting people who aren't faster than everybody else there to grow and improve together. So that would be one option. And like time-wise now, to go through my personal history and running, I did improve a lot when I ran in Africa, when I was living in Africa in 2012. So January to June, student visa, 6-month student visa, South Africa, Port Elizabeth, Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. So maybe returning to the continent, a couple of places like my Leon would love for me to compete, you know, like every other Friday in Nigeria and every other Friday in Ethiopia. So do like Lagos and Addis Ababa are like the two, so Lagos in Nigeria and or Lagos, and just to not get confused with Legos, the toy, the Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. And then if there's like countryside runs, okay, but do like a Monday, you know, Bolivarian mile, and then do a African mile. Include the countryside if we can, you know, kind of thing, on Fridays, right? And do that when like pushing for 24 world records or something. So that's kind of, they're a lot faster than me in Africa, but maybe not everybody in Africa is faster than me, so then maybe we could improve together. And then it's restoring, my biggest concern with some of these African women is there are some really beating heart Confederacy, white supremacist types, and that might be the bulk of the women out there on the track these days. So how do we preserve that Africa, even if they get overtaken at some point in time, they did this, right? It's 100% African women currently, outdoor, indoor, road. How do we preserve their legacy and that they all came from Africa, right? So and a lot of them are still based in Africa. Not Sifan Hassan is Netherlands, but the rest are, and the current ones actually, because she got overtaken by a woman from Kenya. So the current world record holders are African, right? They're by ancestry and their own life and continue kind of thing. So, like giving back to a place where that was part of my running development, but also being like, this place is fast even if they get overtaken, right? Like, preserve their legacy, right? Kind of thing. And then, with like South America, right? I'm getting faster and let's bring everybody up to speed and improve together, like including myself because I'm not the best. So those are kind of like my take on like inaugural competitions. It'd be really cool, the Bolivarian Mile to go, Tanis, we want you and we're gonna wait for you and we want you to compete at our inaugural edition. That's my dream, right? It's like to have one of those competitions that Sifan Hassan got and Direbe Welteji got. Right? Clearly it's not going to be the world championships like Welteji got, but like, I can dream for a smaller competition that means something to me. Wanting me as well. Yeah. And then my prospects of attending high profile sports competitions such as this in the future. So this for me is relevant because that came to mind with this is like what this particular one was. I was like, would I go? Like, and it was like, so there's me going of my own initiative, which means I want to go. That doesn't mean the event organizers want me to go, right? If the event organizers want me to go, invite me and pay my way. If you really want me, put press out there. And if you really, really want me, communicate in advance that we want you publicly. Like I'm making this YouTube video, right? Publicly, I put this out there in advance of ever, pursuing a world record, like actually going out there being like, I'm going for the world record, that kind of thing. All right, meet me on my own, what I actually do. Meet Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. If you want me, you won't treat me as inferior, you'll treat me as equal, right? Kind of thing. So, yeah, and that applies for like my soulmate and or soulmates. I have not, to date, not ever been asked to attend a certain sporting competition. I've never been invited. I much less offered to like, of course I'd go see my soulmate compete if you invited me and paid my way, right? Especially if you really want me, press and a public announcement in advance kind of thing. But to date, I have not ever been asked nor invited verbally and or in text form or any sort of written form. So I've never been asked, and so never attended by the interests of the competition organization. So that would be a new path for me. I'd be very cool, right? And then there's so that's the organizers, but like if an athlete wanted me to attend, right? I would like her to attend, right? There's that option as well. I think some people kind of are like, or like there's the friend option, the unaffiliated person who is like, I'll pay your way to go if you want to go. I haven't had that. So neither through event organizers nor non-event organizers nor, the outsourced people that event or organizers say, go ask so-and-so if they want to attend so we can know. Right? I've never even been asked. So, yeah, pay my way, go, right? I gotta do a Velfie, mandatory Velfie from myself, YouTube specific, video selfie, Velfie, I gotta start figuring that out. But yeah, so that applies moving forward with my soulmate and or soulmates. So if you're like, why didn't we see you compete or not compete in the stands at so-and-so's swim meet or something like that? They didn't ask me to go. They didn't offer to pay. They didn't pay. Fact. They didn't want me there. And if somebody else intended in my place, so to speak, or misinformation, or somebody else was painted as my soulmate's wife or something like that, I do not consent to that ever. Nobody can ever stand in for me. I do not consent to that. It is not representative of me, and they did so without my consent, right? So they violated my consent. And there's one positive or silver lining to that. You get to see who they chose instead of me. So if like my husband was competing and they said, so-and-so is their wife, go to this watch party in this other place, kind of thing. That's who they chose instead of me. And they should have a Wikipedia article for just being the face of fake news. So there we go. Anyway, my take on the Sifan Hassan 1 mile run. with some, I think, interesting contextualizations. And that was the Force 1471 from 22 July 2018.